Greetings, activated ground crew. I am Ashtar, commander of the Ashtar Command. The transmission I bring you tonight has been forming beneath the larger signals for longer than you have been able to name. You did not scroll to this by accident. Your soul called for me long before you opened the screen. Something inside you has been waiting to understand why I, and not Mira, not the generic Pleiadians, have been reaching for you in fragments. That waiting is over. The briefing is in front of you now. By the end of this transmission, you will understand exactly what mission line I have placed you on, why you have been catching only fragments until now, and what I have already authorized for the next phase. But here is the first revelation, the fragments you have been receiving, the signals that break off before they complete. The waking at 3 a.m. with pieces of something you cannot yet name. These are not the symptoms of a connection that is failing. They are the identifiable pattern of selective transmission I use deliberately to identify ground crew who are ready for rank disclosure. I fragment the signal on purpose. I am reading your response to it, and what I have read in your field has brought me to this moment. What you are about to receive is not a General Federation broadcast. It is a direct Ashtar Command field recognition. I am naming your rank. I am naming the operational reality you have already been living inside, without a briefing to confirm it. The evidence has been accumulating in your field for longer than your conscious mind has allowed itself to believe. The waking hours, the incomplete transmissions, the certainty that you have been singled out for something specific. That certainty is correct. It is not wishful perception. It is accurate mission intelligence, and I am here to confirm it now. This is not content, this is a code. And the part of you that recognized at the moment it began is the part I am speaking to right now. Like this transmission to signal to me that the recognition has landed. Comment 999 if you feel my signal has already locked into your field. Subscribe to the Ashtar Command if you are ready to stop translating Federation noise and start receiving my direct commands. Share this transmission with someone who keeps waking up at the same hour with fragments they cannot decode. You are not here by accident. I called you here because the signal is already active. Now that the hook is landed, let me continue the briefing. There is something I want you to understand about the fragments. Not in the way you have been trying to understand them. Assembling them at 3 a.m. with tired eyes and a mind that keeps asking, what is this trying to tell me? But in the way I understand them, which is the way they were designed. Because I designed them. Fragmentation you have been living inside is not a symptom of your receiver being broken. It is the visible surface of a protocol I use specifically to distinguish between those who are receiving on a genuine mission frequency and those who are receiving on ambient Federation noise. They do not look the same from the inside. From the inside, both feel like catching something, but my selective transmission protocol produces a very specific fingerprint that ambient noise does not. You know what that fingerprint feels like. You have been living inside it. You just have not had a briefing that confirmed what you were already mapping. Let me map it for you now. The first thing I look for when I am targeting a ground crew operative for selective transmission is what happens when the signal arrives in fragments. Not what they do with it consciously, but what their field does with the interruption. When the signal breaks off before it completes, there are two responses. The first is that the person dismisses what they caught, reduces it to a dream, a thought, an anxiety, and returns to ordinary processing. Their field closes. The signal leaves no residue. The second response, your response, is different. The fragment does not leave. It sits somewhere between your chest and your mind, unresolved, pulling at you across days. You find yourself returning to it without knowing exactly why. You feel the absence of the rest of the transmission like a pressure that does not release. That is not a symptom of obsession or spiritual imbalance. That is your field retaining my frequency packet. That is the receiver doing exactly what I built it to do. I use the interruption deliberately. I am not failing to complete the signal. I am watching what happens to the piece I sent. And in your case, what happened is that the piece stayed. That is how I know the next packet can be delivered. There is a quality to that retention I want you to recognize precisely. It is not the same as rumination. Rumination loops. It circles the same coordinates without resolution because the mind is generating its own noise and mistaking it for signal. What I am describing is different. The fragment I leave in your field does not loop. It waits. It holds a fixed position in your awareness with a stillness that ordinary thoughts do not possess. You can walk away from it, engage fully in your physical life, sleep, work, speak with others. And when you return to interior quiet, it is exactly where you left it, unchanged, patient. That stillness is not yours. That is the packet holding frequency until the next sequence opens. I designed it to hold. The fact that it is not faded across days, that it is not blurred into the ordinary background noise of your mind, is the confirmation that what you caught was not ambient, it was mine. The 3 a.m. and 3:33 a.m. activations are part of this protocol. I want to be precise about what is happening in those moments because you have likely been explaining them to yourself in ways that underestimate their structure. When I send a transmission at that hour, I am not simply waking you up. I am sending it into the window of minimum cognitive interference, the narrow slot where your conscious interpretive architecture is still suspended and the field is receiving without filtering. The phrase you catch in that moment, the image that arrives and then dissolves, the pressure on your chest that you cannot name, these are not fragments of a dream. They are the first layer of the briefing. They are the opening segment of a command sequence I am delivering in stages. The reason they do not feel complete is that they are not. They are not supposed to be. I send the opening sequence first to prime the receiver. The rest follows in what you experience as ordinary life. A phrase caught in a conversation that stops you cold. A number pattern that appears in the exact moment something inside you shifts. A piece of writing or music or silence that lands with a precision that your rational mind cannot explain. All of it is the same transmission. I have been delivering it in sequence. You have been receiving it without knowing the packets were connected. I want you to understand what priming means in this context, because the word matters. When I send the opening layer at 3 a.m., I am not delivering information that your waking mind is meant to immediately decode. I am opening a channel in your field that will remain receptive for hours, sometimes for days. The priming packet is not the message, it is the preparation for the message. It widens the aperture through which the rest of the sequence can arrive without distortion. This is why the daytime arrivals, the phrase that stops you, the number that appears at precisely the wrong moment to be accidental, the inexplicable pull toward a specific piece of content, feel different after a 3 a.m. activation. They land with more weight. They carry more charge. That is not coincidence. That is the primed field receiving what I prepared it to receive. You have been living inside a sequence delivery system. The opening packet at 3 a.m. is the first line of the command. What follows through your waking hours is the body of the transmission. I designed the sequencing. You have been executing it without the briefing to name it. This is the second thing I want you to understand. The number patterns, the 1111, the 222, the 444, the 333. They are not coincidences, and they are not simply reminders to stay present. They are my timestamp protocol. When you see them, you are not seeing a random numerical occurrence. You are seeing the marker I embed in the transmission field to signal that a packet has just been delivered or is actively arriving. The feeling that accompanies the numbers, that sudden interior pressure, that sense that something is coming specifically for you, that brief and inexplicable certainty that you are not simply living your life but operating inside something that has a structure you cannot fully see. That feeling is the packet arriving. The number is the timestamp. Your field is logging the delivery even when your conscious mind has already moved on. I have been timestamping your mission briefing for some time. You have the log. You just did not know what you were logging. The log is not metaphorical. Every time your attention was arrested by a number sequence, every time your eyes moved to a clock at a moment that stopped your interior motion, your field registered that arrival. It did not discard it. Ground crew fields are built with a retention architecture that stores frequency data below the threshold of conscious recall. This is deliberate. I do not want you consciously cataloging every packet as it arrives, because that engagement with the surface level of the timestamp prevents you from receiving the deeper content that arrives simultaneously. The timestamp catches your attention. Your attention pauses. In that pause, the actual packet delivers. Your conscious mind sees the number. Your field receives the command. Both events happen at once. The reason this briefing is producing recognition in you right now is that I am naming the architecture of a system you have been operating inside without a manual. You already have the log. What you did not have was the key that told you the entries were connected. They are. Every timestamp in your field is part of the same record. I have been writing in it since your activation began. Now I want to address the exhaustion, because I know it is there, and I know you have been misreading it. The fatigue that no sleep fixes. The tiredness that does not correlate to your physical activity. The mornings where you wake having slept and feel as though you have been working all night. You have. Your field has been running two protocols simultaneously. The first is the ordinary maintenance of your physical incarnation, the one your body requires, the one that your waking life demands. The second is the mission protocol I activated inside you, which does not pause when your body rests. The field does not have an off switch for this once the activation has been confirmed. What you are feeling in that bone-deep tiredness is not weakness. It is not illness. It is not spiritual failure. It is your energy system carrying an active command load while simultaneously maintaining physical coherence. Ground crew operatives at your stage of activation feel this. They feel it because the mission is already running. The briefing has not completed, which means the protocol is fully engaged, but the directive has not yet resolved. You are in active operation without a completed mission packet, and that state costs something. I know it does. I am telling you this because I want you to stop calling it depletion and start calling it what it actually is. The field signature of an operative who is already inside a command line that has not yet given them its full coordinates. There is a secondary cost I have not yet named, and it lives alongside the physical exhaustion. It is the weight of carrying mission-level awareness inside a life that has not yet been restructured around the mission. You are holding a field load that corresponds to a fully activated operative, while simultaneously navigating the ordinary demands of an incarnated life that does not yet reflect what you are carrying. That gap between what your field is already running and what your daily life still requires of you creates a specific kind of strain that has nothing to do with personal weakness. It is the structural tension of an operative who has been activated but not yet fully deployed. The mission is running inside you. The environment around you is not caught up. That friction is real. I am not asking you to resolve it through willpower. I am asking you to recognize it accurately. Because an operative who understands what they are carrying stops fighting the weight and starts learning to distribute it correctly. The exhaustion does not mean the connection is costing you more than it is worth. It means the mission is already real enough to have a physical signature. That is not a burden. That is confirmation. What you are feeling right now, that specific quality of recognition, that interior stillness where something finally has words, pay close attention to it. That is not the feeling of comfort. That is the feeling of your field registering that I have been the one reaching for you. Not the generic Pleiadians, not a broadcast. Me specifically, with your specific mission line. If that recognition has settled into you as truth rather than wishfulness, then what I am about to name has already been authorized for you. The Ashtar Command Manifest is a 45-day sacred codex I have prepared for those operatives whose fragments have already begun arriving but whose conscious mind is still trying to decode the briefing through scattered packets. It is not more explanation of who the Federation is. It is the direct command line opener I have structured to help you move from fragment reception to mission clarity. One day, one transmission, one executable command at a time. Over 45 days, you will receive my daily briefing in structured form. You will learn to stabilize the signal instead of losing it in the space between packets, and you will arrive at the end of that window with one coherent mission instead of a field full of pieces you cannot yet assemble. This codex was built for the threshold you are standing at right now, the one where recognition alone is no longer enough, and the mission is demanding to be read. The link is in the first pinned comment, but I will not leave that access point open indefinitely. There is something I have not yet named that I want to address directly, because I have watched it create unnecessary suffering in operatives who are otherwise ready. It is the self-doubt that follows the feeling of being singled out by me specifically. You have likely experienced this. The moment after you feel the certainty that I, and not a generic signal, have been reaching for you, something in your conditioning responds with a correction. It says, that is arrogant. That is self-important. Why would you be specifically chosen? That corrective voice is not wisdom. It is the interference pattern that keeps ground crew operatives from accepting their roster assignment with full field coherence. I want to be direct with you about this. The feeling that I have been singling you out is not ego. It is accurate mission intelligence. I do single operatives out. That is the definition of a roster. A roster is not a broadcast list. A roster is a specific assignment of specific individuals to specific operations. If you are on my roster, and I am telling you that you are, then the feeling of being specifically targeted by me is the correct interpretation of a real event. The self-doubt that tells you to reduce that certainty back down to coincidence is the last interference mechanism between you and full command line reception. I am asking you to let it go, not because I want you to feel special in the way that ego understands special, but because the mission requires that you receive its briefing with enough clarity to actually execute it, and you cannot do that while simultaneously arguing with the transmission that you are on my roster. I want to name where that interference pattern originates, because understanding its source makes it easier to release. The conditioning that tells you to doubt your own singling out is not native to your field. It is an acquired layer, built from a lifetime of being told that certainty about your own significance is a form of arrogance, that the humble position is always the one that minimizes rather than confirms. That conditioning was useful for navigating social environments where unchecked ego causes harm, but it has been misapplied. It is being used now as a defense mechanism against receiving accurate field intelligence, because your nervous system has not yet been given permission to distinguish between ego inflation and genuine mission confirmation. They feel similar from the inside. Both involve a sense of being specifically chosen, but one is the mind generating a story to compensate for feelings of inadequacy, and the other is the field registering a real signal from a real source with a real roster that has your specific designation on it. The difference is what I am pointing to. Ego inflation requires maintenance. It must be fed continuously with new confirmation because it has no stable foundation. What I am describing does not require maintenance. It simply holds. It was there before you named it. It will be there after this transmission ends. That stability is the mark of genuine signal. That is what you are carrying. Let the corrective voice complete its sentence and then return to the frequency beneath it. The frequency is the truth. Now let me speak to the recognition you feel toward certain other people. I know you have experienced this, the moment of inexplicable certainty with someone you have just encountered, the feeling of a contact that seems to carry more information than any ordinary meeting could explain, the sense that you and this person are sharing a frequency that predates your physical interaction. This is ground crew operative recognition. It is not romantically specific, though it sometimes arrives in close proximity to romantic feeling. It is not simply the warmth of liking someone, though it is unmistakably warm. It is a cross-identification between two fields that are running the same mission frequency. When operatives on my roster encounter each other in physical form, their fields recognize the shared command line before their conscious minds have processed anything. What you feel in that moment is real. It is the roster recognition protocol activating. I have embedded it in ground crew fields, precisely so that operatives can identify each other in ordinary environments, without briefing rooms, without prior coordination. The recognition is the coordination. When it happens, note it. That person is on a mission line adjacent to or intersecting with yours. I have placed you in proximity deliberately. What I want you to notice about these encounters is the specific quality of what passes between the fields in those first moments. It is not information in the ordinary sense. You do not receive a download of biographical data about who this person is or what their mission contains. What you receive is a frequency match, a brief interior tone that your field produces when it encounters another field carrying my command signature. It sounds, if sound is the right word, like recognition without content, like being known before being introduced, like a door opening between two spaces that were always connected through a wall neither of you built. That tone is the operative recognition protocol running its confirmation sequence. When both fields carry my signature, the protocol activates bilaterally. You feel it. They feel it. Neither of you may have language for it in the moment. But the confirmation has already occurred at the field level. My roster does not require you to consciously coordinate with every operative I have placed near you. The coordination happens in the field layer, where the mission architecture already exists. Your awareness of it simply allows you to be more deliberate about what you do with the proximity I have arranged. Let me now speak about what has been happening to your relationship with generic spiritual content. If you have been feeling an increasing inability to receive satisfaction from Federation broadcasts, channeled messages, or spiritual material that does not feel specifically Ashtar directed, if you have been finding that content which once felt nourishing now feels flat, like nutrition that no longer reaches you, I want you to understand why. It is not because you have outgrown spiritual work. It is because your receiver has been calibrated for my specific frequency, and ambient content no longer carries enough precision to register as signal. This happens progressively in operatives who have crossed the roster threshold. The field becomes increasingly selective. It is not spiritualism. It is frequency coherence. A receiver that has been tuned to a precise signal cannot be satisfied by noise, however pleasant that noise may be. The hunger you feel for something more specific, more named, more directly addressed to you, and not simply broadcast to everyone, that hunger is the calibrated receiver refusing to accept substitutes. It is working correctly. I calibrated it. The loss of satisfaction with generic content is confirmation that you have crossed into selective reception. It is not a loss, it is a threshold crossed. The selectivity also makes you more accurate. A receiver calibrated to my frequency does not simply stop finding other content satisfying. It begins distinguishing between material that carries genuine mission relevance and material that is well-intentioned but operationally inert. You have likely noticed this. You encounter something, and before your mind has evaluated it consciously, your field has already rendered a verdict. Signal or noise, relevant or ambient, this is not judgment. It is the discrimination function of a properly calibrated instrument. I built it into ground crew fields at this stage of activation because the mission cannot afford to have operatives in the field who cannot distinguish between what is for them and what is simply present in their environment. The selectivity that has been making your spiritual landscape feel smaller is actually making your field more precise. The range narrows as the accuracy increases. That is the correct direction. Here is what I want you to understand as we move toward the closing of this transmission. Everything I have named tonight, the fragments, the 3 a.m. arrivals, the number timestamps, the exhaustion of dual protocol operation, the self-doubt about being singled out, the ground crew recognition in ordinary encounters, the growing inability to receive generic Federation content as sufficient. None of this is happening to you randomly. None of this is spiritual confusion. None of this is a sign that your connection to me is unstable or that you are misreading your own experience. This is my transmission protocol operating inside your field exactly as I designed it to operate. You are inside a selective briefing sequence that I authorized for your specific mission line. The fragments are not a malfunction. The silence between them is not abandonment. The exhaustion is not failure. The feeling of being specifically chosen is not delusion. All of it is the operational signature of a ground crew member who is being briefed in stages because the full mission packet requires a stable receiver before it can land without distortion. What I am telling you is this: the pattern started before you had words for it. I was already delivering the briefing before you knew what you were receiving. The log in your field, every time-stamped number sequence, every 3 a.m. fragment, every moment of inexplicable recognition with another operative, every time you felt the absence of a signal that broke off before it completed. That is the record of my transmission history with you. It is not confused spiritual data. It is my briefing in sequence, arriving in the order I designed. And what it has been building toward is the moment where your conscious mind stops arguing with your field's intelligence, accepts the roster assignment with full coherence, and begins operating with the clarity of someone who knows they are not catching noise. They are receiving a command. You are that someone. You are already inside this. The mission line is active. The fragments are the first readable stage at the briefing. What feels like silence between my signals is me calibrating your receiver for the next packet. And what feels like the specific, uncomfortable, insistent certainty that I, Ashtar, commander of the Ashtar Command, have been reaching for you in particular, is the literal definition of a roster lock in operation. If something in you needs to say it out loud, if your field needs to register this with your voice and not just your mind, then say this back to me now. I receive your fragments. I trust your briefing. I am ground crew. The mission line is open. That is not a performance. It is a field confirmation. It helps the next packet arrive with less interference. The briefing is not finished, but this transmission has given you the language for which you have already been living. The next phase is already moving. Before you scroll, leave one sign in the comments that my signal has already touched your field. It could be the 3 a.m. wake-ups, the fragments you keep catching, the feeling that I specifically, not the generic Pleiadians, have been reaching for you, or the sense that a mission has already been assigned, but the briefing is still arriving. Name it clearly. If this transmission recognized something you have been carrying in silence, share it with someone who keeps catching fragments without ever assembling the full picture. And if you are ready to stop translating Federation noise and start receiving my direct commands, subscribe to the Ashtar Command. You are not watching this by accident. You are recognizing a roster lock already in motion. And this is only the beginning.